The garbage men's gift is a story of magic, friendship, and hope for one another. On Thursdays, Grace Rose and Sophia Evanson, who were sisters, lived their lives. A weekly highlight, a moment of delight that made their hearts beat with excitement. The rumbling of the trash truck driving down their street was more than simply the sound of another workday. It was a moment of joy that made their hearts race. As soon as they heard the distant clatter of bins being lifted, they would immediately stop whatever they were doing, run forward to the window, and push their little faces against the glass. Here they come. Rose would shriek as she adjusted the binoculars that she was using as if she were a captain coming upon a ship that had been lost for a very long time. Those who worked for Hometown Waste Services, Brandon Olson and Tyler Fritz, were aware that their most devoted supporters would be waiting for them. They always found time to answer the girls' exuberant waving, their own cheeks lighting up with genuine grins. This was true regardless of how long their shifts were or how heavy their loads were. When Thursday rolled along, however, the window was still vacant. There was a lack of the little binocular eyes. All of the happiness, the chuckles, and the flurry of hands that were enthusiastic had vanished. Instead, Brandon discovered something that was eagerly awaiting them. An envelope containing a message that has been folded and tucked within with great care. It was Sophia who sent it. A wobbly handwriting read, "Dear Brandon and Tyler," along with the message. "It's possible that we won't see you on certain Thursdays. Due to the fact that I have cancer, I will be spending some time working at the hospital. My mother has informed me that I will be required to undergo a treatment known as chemotherapy, and it is possible that I may feel quite exhausted. However, I shall miss being able to wave and see you. It is a privilege to have you as my pals. Sweetheart." Sophia reading the letter caused Brandon's hands to shake as he did so. His eyes were filled to the brim with tears. The atmosphere, which was often characterized by the aroma of crisp morning air and the hum of their vehicle, suddenly took on a heavier quality. A gaze was shared between them. They were obligated to take action. When Brandon and Tyler returned to the headquarters of their firm that evening, they got down with their boss and discussed the letter for the first time. They did not just want to send a response. Rather, they wanted to do something that would bring back the gleam in Sophia's eyes. The corporation gave their consent to assist. After a few days had passed, the Evanson family opened their door to receive a unique surprise. When Alan and Angie, Sophia's parents, answered the door, they were instantly confronted with a scene that rendered them unable to find the words to describe it. A vehicle for collecting rubbish, but not just any old garbage truck. Streamers of various colors, hand-drawn placards, and vibrant balloons were used to beautify this particular arrangement. It was written in huge letters on a banner that was displayed at the front. "Team Sophia is the most powerful fighter that we are aware of." Taking a big gift basket with them, Brandon and Tyler emerged from the building. Puzzles, stuffed animals, and a little toy trash truck that was identical to the one they drove were among the items that could be seen peeking out from within. "Where's our favorite teammate?" A soft call came from Tyler. Sophia, who was hiding behind her parents and was wearing a little beanie over her head, peered out from behind them with her eyes widening. Even though she was rather feeble, there was a glimmer of joy that peeked through. "You came," she said in a whisper. "Of course," Brandon said me with a smile. "Thursday isn't the same without you." They gave her the basket, and then, at a moment that caused Angie and Alan's eyes to tear up, Brandon brought out a brand new set of binoculars that were designed just for Sophia. They were gleaming, strong, and very special. While he was kneeling in front of her, he remarked, "So even when you're at the hospital, you can still wave to us. In addition, we will never stop waving back." Angie's eyes welled up with tears as she cried. Alan's throat became restricted. This was not only about collecting garbage. It was also about love, about being nice, and about the fact that even the smallest of moments can completely transform a person's life. After then, an even more remarkable occurrence had place. Sophia's Thursdays was a project that was created by Hometown Waste Services. It was a community-wide campaign in which families, local businesses, and neighbors began posting banners, ribbons, and words of support on their garbage cans every Thursday. This turned Trash Day into a celebration of Sophia's fortitude. Even on days when she was too unwell to get out of bed, Sophia would listen to the tales that her parents told her, look at the photos, and feel the love that emanated from her hometown. No matter how difficult the struggle was, she knew that she was never battling alone. This realization came to her every Thursday as the trash truck drove by. While sitting at the window of the hospital, Sophia sat with her petite form enveloped in a blanket. She clenched the binoculars hard in her hands. Even though the chemotherapy made her weak, she was not so weak that she missed the most important event of her week. As she concentrated on the world outside, she pushed the binoculars to her eyes and focused on it. Even from the confines of her hospital bed, she was able to see them: colorful ribbons tied to trash cans, handmade signs glued to bins, and handwritten letters from people she had never seen before. The day designated for rubbish collection had been elevated to an unusual level by the whole community. From one of the signs, it said, "Keep fighting, Sophia." Another individual said, "You are our superhero." Furthermore, on every Thursday, without fail, Brandon and Tyler would blow their horn at an exceptionally high volume as they drove by Sophia's establishment. They were aware that she was observing, despite the fact that she was not physically there. The documentation of everything was done by her parents, Alan and Angie. They showed Sophia every piece of love that was being sent her way, by taking photographs, recording movies, and making sure she saw it all. Nevertheless, on a specific Thursday, something occurred that nobody had anticipated whatsoever. Sophia was in the process of wrapping off a particularly difficult session of treatment when she heard a tap at the door of her hospital room. There was a nurse who came in with a grin on her face. "You have some very special visitors," she replied in response. When Sophia was about to inquire about who it was, the door suddenly opened. Brandon and Tyler entered the room while wearing their bright orange safety vests. But on this particular day, they were carrying something more. Shirts that are identical to Team Sophia, but they were not the only ones. Behind them stood a gathering of people who were all wearing the same shirt. These people included medical professionals, municipal employees, and even the mayor. The gap in Sophia's mouth was wide open. What? But she was also pulling the whole neighborhood together. But it wasn't the end of the shocks just yet. Brandon removed his phone from his pocket and pushed a button on it. "We have something to show you." First, a video started playing. Every single person in the town had congregated on Sophia's street, where they were applauding, waving, and carrying placards. Officers of the fire department stood next to their vehicles and honked their horns. Banners were displayed in the windows of proprietors' stores. A local news station was even covering the incident that was taking place. After then, a message arrived at the very conclusion of the video, which read as follows: "Sophia, you are the most powerful young lady that we are familiar with. Continue your struggle every Thursday. We will be waiting for you to arrive." The sneeze Sophia wiped her eyes and sniffled. She turned her head to gaze at Brandon and Tyler. "I'm really part of the team." As he crouched down next to her, Tyler grasped her little hand in his other hand. "Sophia, you're the heart of the team." The therapies that Sophia was receiving continued as the weeks went by. Certain days were more challenging than others. On the other hand, she never missed a Thursday, regardless of how ill she was feeling. In the morning of that particular day, a surprising event took place. There was a phone call that came from the hospital to Alan and Angie. "The results are in," the physician said, her voice trembling with the intensity of her feelings. "Sophia's treatment, it's working." Angie's eyes welled up with tears as she cried. When they gazed at their daughter, who was delicate but smiling and filled with a hope that had never faltered, Alan took hold of her hand and was holding her tightly. They were aware of the actions that they needed to do. On that particular Thursday, Sophia was seated in her wheelchair, covered in a warm blanket, while her parents wheeled her outdoors for the first time in many months. Her fair complexion was caressed by the sun, and she clenched her binoculars as if they were her most valued possession. The trash truck then rounded the corner as if by some kind of magical occurrence. The horn was sharply smashed by Brandon. After the vehicle had not even come to a halt, Tyler leapt down of it. The first time in what seemed like an eternity that Sophia waved to her pals in real life was when she finally did it. Cheers erupted from every single person in the neighborhood. Sophia's fight was not yet done, but at that same instant, when she was surrounded by love, she realized that she had already triumphed.